How are we, ladies and gentlemen? It is Thursday night. I hope you're all keeping well. There is 9 days to go. Just 9 days to go until the Reds take on Spurs in Madrid for the right to lift big ears above either of the captains' heads. I am absolutely buzzing, but the days seem to be never ending. I'm looking, I'm going, well, just hurry up. Can we get to Madrid? Can we get to June the 1st? Well, can we get to Madrid? I'm not going to Madrid, but can we get to June 1st? Oh, there's so much to get through. I'm so glad the transfer window's open. If the transfer window wasn't open, I don't know how the hell I would get through these next 9 days. Thankfully, there's a bit of football coming up, isn't there, over the weekend? We've got the championship playoffs and stuff as well coming up. The finals, I should say, of the championship playoff. We've got the League 1, League 2, lots and lots of bits and pieces. You're not here for that, though. We're here for one thing and one thing only, and that is to talk about Liverpool, to talk about Jurgen Klopp's Red Men. How are we all feeling? I see something I just want to comment on. Anthony, mate, I hope you're feeling okay. I could see I was perusing. Look at me using big words, perusing the chat before I came on, buddy, and hanging around with Connor too much. It's trying to make me feel more educated than I am. Where's all the bad language gone? Do you know what I mean? Well, I've got to go back to the Craig that was cursing. I couldn't use words like perusing, but here we are using them. Anthony, mate, I see that you were in the hospital today, and I hope you're feeling okay, buddy. I see you said you were in there for 7 hours, mate. Lots of love to you, and I hope you're okay. I hope you're feeling better. Again, as loads of people in the chat saying the same to him, because you guys are the absolute best. Look, all the regulars are in, and probably a few new people as well. I think we've got past the point now where I can say hello to everybody in the chat. I don't feel good about that, but I think I don't want to wait 5-10 minutes at the start of a stream when there's questions that we could be getting through and people's thoughts that we could be sharing. Loads of stuff coming in. Camacho was being mentioned. Memphis Depay is being mentioned. Loads of stuff. I'll get through whatever you guys want to get through. This is your show. Let me have a chat and see what you guys want to talk about. Okay, let me see. Look at this. The lyrics to LA from Willow and all. Good woman yourself, Willow. I love it. You guys always cheer me up. Sometimes I'm a little bit tired coming on here, but today is one of those days I'm just a little bit tired, but I always do look forward to our little chats, and they've moved a little bit earlier now, haven't they? 9:30. Right, so where to start? Right, let's get straight into the good stuff, shall we? Straight into the juicy stuff. Oh, somebody mentioned the podcast. Yes, the podcast has gone live on the channel today. As you can see, it's a video podcast, so you can watch us. It's about 25 minutes or so long. It's also available on Podbean and on Spotify as well. Just search Anfield Agenda on there. There's a little bit of a technical issue with iTunes that I'm just working through at the moment, and I hope to have that fixed by the time we release the next podcast. But it is up there if you want to have a listen to it. If you're on the move and you've got Spotify or Podbean, just download the app. It's completely free on Podbean. The podcast is up there. We have a little chat, myself, Brian and Connor, about the players that we believe might move on from the club this summer. And it's a short one. As I said, we're trying to keep them smaller because we know you guys haven't got 2 hours at times. So we're trying to keep these things below 25 minutes or so. So thank you to Connor for editing it as usual. It's, Connor gets shit done, what can I say? I hope you enjoyed it. It was great fun to do. I always much rather sit in person with people when we're chatting. It makes it a lot more personable, doesn't it? But we hope to do that more as the season goes on. The pre-season goes on, I should say. But anyway. Back to Memphis Depay, because that's why we're all here, isn't it? To talk transfers at this moment in time. There are reports today, and I'm not talking about a couple of reports. I'm not talking about very, very misleading reports. I'm saying that there is a little bit of substance to reports. And I say substance like I know what's going on. Again, I don't. I just mean more credible than some of the usual nonsense that you'd read. That Memphis Depay might be coming to Liverpool. The reports suggest Liverpool have made contact with Lyon over the player, and that 35 to 50 million for the 25-year-old is about the figures. Now, this does range. Some people are saying 35 with add-on. Some people are saying it's a little bit higher. We know he's good mates with Virgil van Dijk, and we know that he's good mates with Gini Wijnaldum, who he previously played alongside at PSV Eindhoven. We've spoken about this before, but the fact that Memphis Depay can play in a couple of attacking positions would probably make him a more likely signing than some other players, because we know Jurgen Klopp loves versatility in his players. And yes, sometimes you need a specialist. Sometimes you need a Fabinho. Sometimes you need a Virgil van Dijk. But even a Fabinho can play at centre-back. Even a Fabinho can play at right-back. So, Klopp does like a bit of versatility from his players, which is why he's so fond of the likes of Jordan Henderson and James Milner and stuff like that. So, I want your thoughts on this. We did a poll earlier on our Twitter account where I asked, would you be happy if Liverpool signed Memphis Depay? Yes, no, or unsure. And overwhelmingly, it was a yes. Overwhelmingly, I think it was like 72%, something like that, of people said that they would like to sign Memphis Depay for the reported figures of around 35 plus million. But as always, that's my little bit on it now. It's over to you guys for your comments. Luke said, I saw your 888 video. The comments on it didn't agree. Oh, if that was the Hazard one, mate, I was never expecting anything but a bit of a backlash on that, to be fair. The whole point of that was, well, it was my genuine opinion, but I knew it was going to trigger some people as well. Leroy Sane Presmane mentions, we'll talk about that, buddy, a little bit further along in the show. I do have it on my notes. Let's just get straight into your thoughts on Memphis Depay, ladies and gentlemen. So let me get to those comments. I'd love Depay and think he wants to join us, said Anthony Cronin. V8 said, what I love in the tunnel is Salah always goes last. Walk on with Klopp, gives him a hug. I love him, Craig. I love all of them, mate. I love all of them. All of those boys. And of course, Jurgen Klopp. MUFC Gamer, how are you, my friend? Said, no doubt in Depay's talent. Huge attitude issues. Sulks like a baby if benched. That has always been my worry, sir. Always been my worry about Memphis Depay. His ability, as you've rightly pointed out yourself, buddy, and I'm sure you've watched him during his time at United as well, and may have even followed on to watch him a little bit at Lyon. You can't doubt his quality. It is there. He has magic at his feet. But like you, I've always had worries about his attitude. I said to you before, I've seen some stuff with the Lyon manager that was in the media that I didn't like coming out. But I've also always said that if Jurgen Klopp decides that a player has the right mental attitude for this team, then who the hell am I to second guess him? 25 years of age, he's about the right age as well. I don't know. I'm going both ways on this one. I can understand it. He wouldn't be my first choice, but I don't know. It's over to you guys anyway, because you guys are usually in a much better position to give your opinions than me on this. Depay's a brilliant player, said Robster124. Meredith said, Redmen posted a video about the growth of their channel. I left a comment saying they should do stuff with you, Craig. Look, they've had tremendous growth and worked very, very hard at it as well. So I haven't watched much Redmen stuff because I don't get a chance to watch much stuff on YouTube, but I did watch something a day in the life of the Anfield Wrap that was good, so I might actually go and watch that Redmen video, because it would be lovely to see the growth of their channel, and you know how hard they've worked, and they've earned it. Did Depay play for United? He did indeed, Lee. He did. He played there under Louis van Gaal, I believe, brought him to Manchester United, if my memory serves correct. Firmino, central attacking midfielder, and Depay striker, said Sully. No, not for me. No, not for me. I would rather move Salah or Mane through the centre, and drop. I've no problem with the dropping the Firmino back, mate, but I don't know about Depay as a striker. Maybe Mane through the centre, Salah through the centre, Brewster through the centre, hopefully going forward. Have seen it's likely to rise to 50 million, said Luke Nelms. Exactly, sir. That's what I read as well. 35 million, and then some add-ons and stuff as well. But you never know what to believe when it comes to figures. And to be honest, as fans, we don't really care about figures. All we really care, well, you want to know your club can afford these players. But when you're talking figures like 35, 40, 50 these days, I think it's fair to say Liverpool can afford that. Even though Depay's an ex-United player, if he wants to come and prove his worth, then why not, said Willow. Great player, deep Red Devil roots, said Richard Fink. I think Liverpool tried to sign Depay, if memory serves me correct, before he went to United. Obviously he had the Louis van Gaal connection there, would give him, probably gave United a bit of a stronger hand in the game of cards, or the game of poker, if you want to say that. Depay can do good work with Liverpool, said Stamford Specialist. Wouldn't want Depay, said Kieran Aaron. Care to expand, buddy? I'd love to hear from somebody on that side as well, because I think a lot of us, or a lot of people in the chat would be happy with him. So I'd love to get both sides of this argument, Kieran. So love to know why exactly you wouldn't want him. Is it the United connection? Is it his attitude, buddy? Or maybe you just don't think he's good enough. Randy66 is in, my friend. How are you? Evening, Craig. Evening, Redmen. Memphis would be a great signing and would be the signing that takes us to the title next year. Firmino could play in a withdrawn role. Memphis, Mane and Salah. Wow. Yeah. When you do think about getting that quality of cover in, when you put it that way, mate, and you know you're talking about rotation perhaps there as well. Ryan Brewster there. Oh, it does. It is tasty, mate, isn't it? Klopp's the right manager to pick Depay, said Liverpool Football Club. V8 said Depay could be like Owen in reverse, leaves United, joins Lyon, or joins rivals Liverpool. Yeah, some people have said before, like Salah as an example, people are pointing to the fact that Memphis Depay didn't work out at Manchester United. Sometimes it's just a little bit too early in a player's development or in their career to make a move to a big club like Manchester United. And maybe that was a bit too early for Memphis Depay. Salah felt he had unfinished business in the Premier League after his time with Chelsea, and we've seen what he's come back to do with Liverpool. So maybe if Memphis Depay comes to Liverpool, we'd see the same type of thing. Forbidden Scripts official Street Orphan said Depay will be a great boy. James Askew said, I don't think he's necessary in our team. We have Shaqiri and Origi as backups. There's some drop off though, to be fair, James, in all honesty, from Firmino, Mane and Salah to Origi and Shaqiri. Two useful players, but we can't deny there is a drop off in ability there, right down. Willow said the Redman video is great, Craig, worth a watch. I'll certainly give it a watch, yeah, absolutely, and thank you for those that have suggested it. What else we got? I'm fine if Depay is coming in as long as it's back up for our front three. We need a younger player to replace Grandpa Sturridge. We have Ryan Brewster at Big Ledger, and I know I've been bigging this guy up a lot, but I hope you guys will see exactly what I hope he shows exactly what I've built him up to do. He's going to be sensational. Ryan Brewster might not see the best of him this season. Might take him a little bit longer to settle in. Could hit the ground running, but there is a reason why we're not really being linked with a proper number 9. I think Jurgen Klopp fought hard to get Ryan Brewster to sign that first pro contract at the club, and he wants to give him a chance. As I keep saying, he does think very highly of him. Right, Dex Finest says, Craig, according to Sky Sports, we're going for Felipe Anderson. In my honest opinion, I'd like Depay and Anderson to come. They're both very versatile and suit our style of play. I cannot disagree with anything you've said, Dex. I mean, Felipe Anderson has had a very good season for West Ham, has shown that he can settle into the Premier League very quickly. I just wonder at the costs. That's the only thing there. If you're looking at getting Felipe Anderson out of West Ham, mate, I think that will cost an awful lot of money. And we know Jurgen Klopp, whilst he isn't afraid to spend money, he does like to feel that there's value in a signing. So I honestly just wonder. I'd take that Douglas top keeper Adrian is. Oh, I think you were talking something like Adrian from West Ham. We spoke about that last night. He is being apparently looked at as a possible replacement for Simon Mignolet should he move on, which it looks like he will. Never ever replace Salah, said Let's Think Tech. I love Mo Salah, mate. I absolutely adore him. I don't want him to go anywhere, nor will he be going anywhere this summer either. Domestic Butler said it's all good for Liverpool at the moment. Yeah, it's positive, isn't it? Some lovely articles as well about Jurgen Klopp, about the club's use of statistical analysis. I'm glad I got that phrase out. I was dreading saying that there when there's a little fly here flying around. I was dreading saying that when the thought came into my head. But yeah, there's been some nice articles on Liverpool recently, so any positive vibes around the club is always a good thing. There's a significant drop off to the second 11, said Richard Fink. Yes, mate. Well, yes and no. If we're to let's just throw an 11 out there and just work with me on this one. We'll circle back to it. So let's say Alisson, Trent, Gomez, Van Dijk, and this is my starting 11 for the final. I'm just looking towards next year. Trent, Alisson, Van Dijk, Gomez, Robertson, Fabinho, Henderson, Gini, Mo, Firmino, Mane. Right, so let's just throw that out there as a possible 11. Then look to the bench. We'll have James Milner. We'd have Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. We would have Dejan Lovren. We would have Joe Matip. We would have, I think we're probably going to see Lallana move on, but we'd have Sheridan Shaqiri. And then you look to the forward line, and that is where there is more of a drop off, or less like for like, or less ability to rotate. So that's where I agree. That I think 2. I'd like to see us get 2 for the front position, to be honest. Jeff said Depay's attitude is not a problem. He's misunderstood. There's a great article in the Times from last year. Look it up. He's a very intelligent guy, not the stereotypical footballer. I absolutely am willing to look that up, Jeff, mate. Thank you. It doesn't help himself when he's doing those stupid rap videos, smoking a cigar in what can only be described as a very strange choice of jacket as well, mate. But as you've said, sometimes first impressions, you have to look past them and you have to dig a little bit deeper. So I do appreciate your comments, Jeff. Thank you. Would you like Depay to come to Liverpool? My whole thing, mate, is that whatever Jurgen Klopp decides, I'm sound with, because he's earned our belief and trust at this moment in time. And apart from maybe the signing of Karius. I can't think of anybody that's really what we could class as a failure. And even at that, it's hard to call Karius a failure because it was only like a £4.5 million gamble. Depay is a smokescreen for something else at Andrew Childerhouse. Oh, the smoke screens. I love an old smoke screen, mate. Twitter's filled with smoke screens. Luke Naum says Delay, Van Dijk, Hoover, Genie and Depay, little Dutch team. We're not going to get Delay, mate. Yeah, we're not going to get Delay. I'm sorry. It doesn't look that way. It looks like there's a bit of wrangling going on around the Barcelona deal, but that will probably happen at some point. Craig, I know you love a good sing song, so let's do it. No, I'm not singing. I'm too tired, mate. And it needs to be in the moment of a match. You know what I mean? So get ready for the final. You'll get lots of singing. Dave will be here. I'll be here. There'll be songs galore. I'd rather Anderson to Depay, said Mossy Kyo. I can understand that, mate. I can completely understand that. Did anybody see with these links to Felipe Anderson? Has anybody seen a Oh, Mossy, actually, I need to do something there. Did anybody see a possible figure for Felipe Anderson? Because that's one thing I haven't seen with these little articles that have mentioned him coming to Liverpool. So if anybody has a figure or seen a figure mentioned, please do post it in. Ragnar Klavan was a failure. How dare you, sir? How dare you? Ragnar Klavan is... You have to look past the football, mate, when you're talking about Ragnar Klavan. He is a legend. I love Ragnar Klavan for all the wrong reasons. From the footballing perspective, I don't think he was a failure, mate. 1.5 million, something like that for Raggy Klavan. Very, very cheap. Plus, he gave us so many wonderful step overs and so many wonderful turns and so many wonderful moments. Was it the goal against Burnley or something that he scored as well? You gotta love a bit of Ragnar Klavan. Pepe smokescreen, said Tomato Knuckles. Interesting. I actually haven't seen much today now on Pepe to Liverpool. But you know, today's news could be tomorrow's chip paper and things could move very quickly. Is Depay's coat nicer than Connor's? No, mate. Connor's is... That's the Ragnar Klavan of jackets. Do you know what I mean? That's what we're talking about here. Craig, you're going to do a live stream of the final because I'd love to do a watch along. 100% Gary, mate. 100%. I've been saying this. The build up has started already on the channel. We're going to do a whole day of content around the final. We'll have a preview show. We'll have a watch along as always. And then we're doing a post-match stream for charity. So again, I've gone through those details many times for the charity. I'm not going to drag you down with them again. I'll be joined by Brian Morrissey, by Connor and by Dave of Dave's LFC Chats for the final. They're all coming to my house to watch it, so yeah, should be good fun. Prez Mane said Klavan is the best in the world. My pleasure, Mossy, mate, absolutely my pleasure. To the mods, actually, ladies and gentlemen, I went through the list of banned accounts today and we've banned some accounts on this channel, and rightly so, but just maybe... How do I phrase this? Because I love you guys and appreciate the hard work that the mods do. Sometimes I think we can be a little bit too trigger happy, me included. I mean, you've seen times where I've lost the rag on here over silly stuff. So maybe just give somebody a couple of goes before you boot them out, if that's okay. And I do appreciate that you're always looking out for the channel and to keep the vibe in the chat friendly. So you know I love you all for that. But just maybe give people a couple of leeways before I give them a boot up the hole and kicking them out. Klavan is a man of God, said somebody there. The last I've seen is 35 million. Most I've seen is 75. Yeah, see, the 75 to me, Willow, sounds much more realistic for Felipe Anderson because, you know, it'll be a Premier League to Premier League move. Doing watch-alongs in pre-season? Absolutely, mate. Every Liverpool game in pre-season we'll be doing watch-alongs of. Yeah, I love them. They're my favourite part of doing the channel. I love watch-alongs because you get to go through all the range of emotions. You get to see people's reactions. I get to act like a lunatic. And like, what grown-ass man doesn't like to act like a fool? I don't think we really grow up, us men, do we? I think deep inside we're all just excited little boys. Dave practicing his moonwalking for the final. There you go. I mean, there could be anything, mate. There could be moonwalking from me for the final. Craig, always remember... Who walked the Champions League, or who walked the Champions League, not City. Damn right. You know, it's all they want, and they ain't going to have it this year. Right, what else we got? Yeah, Luke, so what do you think of, is it Chukwueze? The guy we're interested in. He's 21, scored 8 times in 21 La Liga games, around 52 million. Is he the guy from Villarreal, Luke? If memory serves me correctly, I think I've seen that name alongside Villarreal. I don't know too much about the guy at all, buddy, but for 52 million at 21 years of age, he must be fairly decent. And you're not the first person to mention. There's a couple of other people have mentioned them to me over the previous couple of nights, but I never got around to actually looking into the guy. So again, I'd love to know. If you ever do have links, by the way, please let me know where the links are from. So if it's from a particular site, let me know, because it'll make it easier for me to go and have a little look. I'm wearing my Never Give Up t-shirt. It's a belter, said Lee. Good man, Lee. Good man. I love that the WWE, by the way, had that on their site. Did you see that on the European store? They had the LFC Never Give Up t-shirt, because I believe it's a John Cena t-shirt originally. Am I right in that? I know there's a couple of wrestling fans in the chat, so maybe you could help me out there. Would I take Fraser from Bournemouth as a backup? I actually have a little bit on that as well. I'm glad you mentioned it. So where is he? Down to the notes. So many notes. Yeah, so there is a newspaper over here in Ireland. I believe it was the Irish Daily Mirror. Said that Liverpool might use Harry Wilson as a make-weight to try and get Ryan Fraser from Bournemouth. Now, earlier on in the day, I'd read that Arsenal have been very strongly linked with a move for Ryan Fraser, and the figure being mentioned was around the £30 million mark. So, from the English side of things, what I'm reading seems to suggest Arsenal are in pole position to try and sign Ryan Fraser. But as I said, that paper here in Ireland did suggest that Liverpool might try and use Harry Wilson as a make-weight in the deal, which makes sense all around. It would make sense for Harry Wilson to go to a Premier League club, working under a good manager as well, like Eddie Howe. I think would do wonders for Harry Wilson. I don't know if when they say make-weight, if they mean that by like a permanent transfer or a loan with an option to buy back. I don't know. But what do you guys think about it? Because I know you've mentioned Ryan Fraser on a couple of occasions, and I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it, to be honest. I don't know if he is good enough. I don't know if we'd be looking at another Shaqiri but Shaqiri level of footballer there. I know he's had a very good season this season, but I'm always a little bit nervous about those type of moves. Craig, the PSG owner was charged with corruption. I seen it. I tweeted it from our account. I tweeted it and I said, "Quick, everybody, act shocked." It isn't really a shock to any of us, is it? To be fair, did somebody say Clavan? Say Clavan the goat. There he is. He appears. He's like Beetlejuice. Craig, some bellend in the Alamo said he likes Klopp because he gets to the final and loses. Yeah. You've said, called him a bitter fucker there. As you said, that's all he is. That's all any of them are. Let's start with this stuff. Do Derby have any say on Wilson? They don't have any contractual say, Mark, but of course they can chat to Liverpool, and they've done well by Harry Wilson during his time there, but I don't think they've any or first right to buy or anything like that from what I can gather. But you know, again, sometimes a lot of things are, well, all the time these type of things are behind closed doors and kept in private, but I don't believe so from what I've read in the media. I'd rather keep Wilson, said Sudakaran, excuse me. No, Ryan Fraser, he's a dwarf, said the White Warrior. That's vicious, mate. Come on. John Cena used it as a slogan, but Salah made it look way better on that night. Yeah, he did. Salah makes everything better, Dino, doesn't he? What do you think about Schultz, Hazard and Brandt to Dortmund? I spoke about it last night, Mark. It's very good business from Borussia Dortmund. They basically used the Christian Pulisic money to bring in 3 quality players, and they're so good at it, aren't they? They're very, very good at their transfer business, Borussia Dortmund, and they like to get things done early in Germany as well. So yeah, it was excellent business from the Mark. Brad said, "Hi Craig, it's Brad. You might remember me. Brian Morrissey blocked my other account for having an opinion. I've been very loyal to you since around 1,200 subs." Again, mate, what was the other opinion? I don't know, mate. If Brian, I've got Brian's back. I don't know what happened there, and I can't really take time out in the middle of a stream. If you want to email me about it, mate, I'm happy to. I fixed a couple of things for a few people today via email, so AnfieldAgenda@outlook.com, buddy. If there's any issues like that, I'm more than happy to address it there. Gonad said, "I'd like to see Wilson given a couple of games in the first team before we ship him out." Yeah, I get that. I absolutely get that. I thought personally that he'd get pre-season with the club, and then the club would decide what to do, but what I'm reading, and maybe what you guys are reading as well, seems to suggest that he's off. I don't know. Nothing's done till it's done, if you get where I'm coming from. Douglas James Horn, thank you for the super chat, buddy. Said, most improved Liverpool player this season. For me, Gini Wijnaldum. I think he just keeps improving, Douglas, every single year. Every time competition comes in around that midfield, he just seems to get better and better and better. So for me, Gini Wijnaldum. But Douglas, I'd love to know your opinion, and of course I'd love to know everybody else's. Alex Redo said, love the podcast. Thank you very much. My wife said, I got a Blues banner just for sleeping with Craig. Well, to be fair, do you know what I mean? I should get something for that as well. I mean, some type of an award. I don't know where to go with that. There's probably about 50 jokes in that comment that I just don't want to go into at this moment in time, because I know there are some younger people watching. What else we got? What have we got? Oh, we're only 4 subs away from 15,800. I just caught that out of the corner of my eye there. Guys, if you're watching, please do keep hitting that button. We're edging towards 16,000 bit by bit. Sam Graham Vlog said, my dad hasn't got a ticket to the final. It'll be the first he's never been to, and he's been to every home game this season. I'm genuinely feel for your dad there. There's so many Reds, so many really loyal match-going Reds like your father who can't get a sniff of a ticket. And what really winds me up, and I'm not sure how you guys feel about this, you guys know I'm not a gamer, so please don't take this as me attacking gamers, because that's not what I mean by this. But I've seen a few gamers who have no relation or no link to either club getting lashed out tickets, whether it be by PlayStation or EA Sports or whoever it is, and then going on and basically bragging about it and trying to wind fans up. And that doesn't sit well with me. Now, if you're a big Liverpool fan who's a gamer, by all means. If you're a big Spurs fan who's a gamer, a big Arsenal fan, a big Chelsea fan for the Europa League final, by all means. But that stuff doesn't sit well with me when these lads are on there bragging about it and stuff. I genuinely don't begrudge anybody anything, but I've heard so many stories of people like Sam's dad that guys have been home and away in the Champions League, home and away in the league, and can't get a sniff of a ticket. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible, and I do feel for these guys. So mate, do pass on my regards to your dad. I hope a miracle happens or something and he gets sorted in between now and then. Scotty said, Craig, I'm with Brian, I think you meant to say. That guy was acting like a dick. I always back Brian, mate. That's why I try to address things with people off stream if they have any issues, because it gives me a chance then to have a word with Brian. And I usually have a chat with Brian every day or two about stuff like this. So Brian always fills me in on what's happening. Right, let me see. Castro's a United fan and he got tickets, said Joe Stanley. What can you say, Joe, mate? These guys have clout from being massive gamers, I suppose. I don't know who that guy is, so I don't want to belittle him or talk bad about it, because I have no idea who he is, because I'm not a gamer myself. How long have I been live? Just joined. About 20 minutes, 25 minutes, Billy, something like that, mate. I've been to every game this season. I've not got a ticket, but still going to Madrid, said Aiden. I hope a miracle happens for you as well, mate. But most importantly, when you're over there, I hope you have a wonderful time. And it's a trip that you remember for a lifetime, buddy. The tickets should go to genuine fans. I'm with you. Don't get me wrong. What I'm going to say here doesn't in any way endorse UEFA, but I do understand with the money that's in the game and the money that sponsors pay that a certain amount of tickets will have to go to those type of people. But half of the tickets getting split between the two sets of fans doesn't really look well, does it? There should be more than that. I mean, 16,000 each is just not good enough. There should be more than that. Who do you think is better, Robertson or Trent? Oh, that's a tough one. I'd say Robertson is probably more accomplished at this moment in time, but then again, he is 2 or 3 years further along in his development, or more actually. Was he 3 or 4 years further along in his development than Trent? So at this moment in time, I would say Robertson's the more completed player, but they both have a ceiling that is world class. I mean, they could go on to be 2 of the greatest fullbacks in world football if they keep going the way they are. It's great that we can have this conversation, Deadlock. about 2 players that are at our club, and we all ranked them so highly. What's the point in going if you don't support either club? I'd give it to an actual supporter, so them UFC gamer. Yeah, I get you. Now, I suppose sometimes people are football fans as well and wouldn't mind a Champions League final, but with so many fans unable to get tickets, it doesn't sit well with people, and I understand that, and I'm one of those people that it doesn't sit well with. Stephen Richard said, I'm not receiving notifications from the stream. Mate, I'm convinced YouTube has an issue with us somewhere, because sometimes I've scheduled the stream, it's disappeared. Connor's done it then, it's disappeared. And I know a lot of people aren't getting notifications, so all I can say is maybe turn them off, turn them back on, and hope for the best. It's nothing we can change at our end. It's just unfortunately a YouTube thing. But you guys should know anyway, 9:30, 9:45, we're going to be live every night. Trent's a greater prospect, said Richard Fink. Robbo's more defensive game management and knowledge at present, said John Hamilton. Both teams should have gotten 35,000 tickets each. Ridiculously, only 16,000. Well, I think, isn't the capacity 67, something like that? I would say what would have been fair was maybe 22,500 tickets each, 45,000, and then, you know, there are some that go on the ballot as well for football fans around the world, so they are going to genuine fans most of, well, you would hope they go to genuine fans. And then maybe 15-20k for the clubs, the sponsors, the dignitaries, the big cats or the fat cats, whatever you want to call them. Madip has had a quality season, said Tom Boland. Indeed, he has, mate. It's disgusting. I got tickets, but my uncle, who's been going every game, has missed. Yeah, and like many have said, Joe, I've seen so many Reds who were just going over just to be in the city. And we spoke about the fan park thing last night as well, and the fact that they're not going to be showing the games, which to me makes no sense whatsoever. Benny said, Football Index has made me £1,000 in the past 2 weeks. Well done, mate. Well done. I had a little play around with Football Index earlier on in the season. Did make a little few quid on it, to be honest, but it's too slow moving for me, buddy. I'm not one that likes to, you know, invest in players and then wait for the value to go up. I like the tenner accumulator at the weekend or whatever, and you know then straight away if you've won or lost. Robbo's more well-rounded, but Trent has a better cross and a free kick, said Jack Devine. You look calm, cool and relaxed, said Domestic Butler. I am, mate. I'm settling into this YouTube channel thing, and the less trolls that are in, the more fun it is and the more we get to interact, and life is quite good at the minute. I'm tired. I'm so tired. But life's good at the minute. My family life as well. Football, obviously, but Liverpool's going tickety-boo, so what more could I ask for? Right, some more stuff. Camacho. People want to talk about Rafael Camacho, so let's get on to him. Okay, so many notes. Right, so Liverpool look almost certain to get rid of Rafael Camacho this summer. I think he's got 1 year left on his current deal, and there seems to be a bit of a stalemate between himself and the club with regards to him extending that deal. So Liverpool look like they're going to try and cash in on Camacho this summer, with the fee of around 10 million quid being mentioned. So I don't know what to say. He's a good player. I didn't like the way he spoke out recently about not like where he's being played or not feeling like he's getting, you know, enough of a look in. I suppose you can look at that as a player who backs himself as well, but I'd rather we did things like that in private. But there is no doubt that Rafa Camacho looks like a very, very good young footballer. I completely understand why the club would rather try and cash in and get 10 million on him than develop him for another year and then see him go for free. So for me, it's just sound business sense from the club, and I know a lot of people have strong feelings on Camacho, so please do let me know in the chat. But it looks like he is absolutely going to move this summer, and the figure of 10 million is what seems to be mentioned. Douglas James Horn said Madip for me has really stepped up this season. He absolutely has, mate, particularly with not being injured, which from I'd never had any issues around the quality of his football really. It was more that he couldn't put a run of games together, and he's put a very good run of games together covering for Joe Gomez. What else we got? Craig, sorry to disturb you, mate. Rumours have come out that Pep Guardiola has agreed a contract with Juventus. I delved into a little Manchester City chat earlier on just to see people talking about this, and Manchester City fans, I mean like Manchester City fans who, you know, are actual Manchester City fans, don't believe there's anything to that story with Pep Guardiola going to Juventus. If anything, they actually believe he's going to look to extend his deal at Manchester City. I don't know what to say. I told you guys that I think Mourinho will end up at Juventus, and that maybe Guardiola goes there a few years down the line. But that's just guesswork, because I think Ronaldo likes Mourinho and it might satisfy Ronaldo. But yeah, I don't know. Has anybody seen real genuine stuff? And I'm not talking about Italian links, because maybe Juve are trying to put it out there. And I know that Juve are looking at Pochettino as well, by the way. So keep an eye on that situation. I didn't get it today, that's why I'm late. I checked and you were live, said Billy Donnelly. It really frustrates me when people don't get notifications. Not from our point of view, just because I know people, have gone out of their way to subscribe to the channel, to click that notifications button as well. And the fact that they're not going out does frustrate me. And me and Connor have this conversation a lot, trust me. Willow said you have to subscribe, close the app, resubscribe, turn on notifications and get them back on. There you go, some advice from Willow. Although I don't like the idea of people unsubscribing. I don't like that, makes me nervous. City to sign Cancelo. I read earlier on, Tom, that Juventus are absolutely saying that they're going to fight really, really hard to keep him at Juventus, and that they don't want to lose him. I have seen the links you're talking about, mate. I also seen a link today for, who was it? Manchester City were linked to another fullback for like 50 million quid, which seems to be the number when you're talking about Manchester City fullbacks. I just can't think who it was off the top of my head. Adam said, I'm a little biased, but I prefer Trent, so would say he's better. Manolas is about to go to Liverpool. That is honestly the first I've heard about Manolas going to Liverpool, buddy. Please do let me know where you've seen that, though. Craig, I bet you're waiting for the Depay rumours to be denied by the Echo. I can feel it coming soon. I think if they were to be denied, I think they might have been denied already, Louis, which is what makes it a little bit interesting. Yeah, you do always keep an eye on old Jimmy Pearce, don't you, to see what's happening, to see if he's going to pour cold water over these rumours. But he did it with the Lit situation. Nothing yet on Depay. I'm interested to see how that works out. But on Camacho, ladies and gents, what are your thoughts on Camacho as well? Do you think the club are doing the right thing there? Domestic Ballers put in the link to our Twitter account. Thank you very much, sir. I do appreciate that. Our Twitter account's absolutely flying at the minute, by the way. We're getting, I think we're up to almost 32,000 followers on Twitter. So thank you to everyone that's given us a follow on there. I hope you're enjoying the content. I'm the one that runs that account these days, so I'm having good fun on there. Domestic Butler said, I have a bet for the final, 3-0 to Liverpool, VVD first goal. Nice. I wouldn't mind that one bit, sir. Craig, the Liverpool Echo said Klopp doesn't want Felipe Anderson via James Pearce. Well, there you go, Scotty. That link to me didn't really ever add up because of the amount of money that would be involved. From a playing perspective, I think Felipe Anderson is excellent. I think 2-0 or 3-0 to Liverpool in the final, said Mossy. Firmino to Leverkusen. And we're just... Are we just putting names in a hat now and just pulling out players' names and random clubs' names? Because there's more chance of me to Leverkusen than Roberto Firmino to Leverkusen. Alpha G said, I'd strongly advise LFC to pass up on Memphis Depay, but Klopp knows best. I believe it's time for Camacho to move on to Adam Parks, which it is going to happen. I mean, 10 million for a young player with 1 year left on his contract. I mean, Michael Edwards, he does the business, doesn't he, when it comes to transfer dealings? Keep Camacho, said Mossy Kyo. He won't sign a new deal, mate. It's not that the club don't want to keep him. I think actually Liverpool would like to keep him and develop him further, but it seems he wants to move on. And if he wants to move on, you know, the club have two options. Let him go for free in a year's time and spend time developing him, maybe even to the detriment of another young player who will be at the club longer. So it makes sense from that perspective. If he wants to go, just cash in on him and get as much as you can. Salah, Mane and Firmino aren't going anywhere, said Scotty. Damn right they aren't. Have you talked about the reports saying Pep's joining Juventus on June 14th? Just touched on them, but you probably had written this before. I already did that. So if anybody has heard where these links for Pep to Juventus are coming from, please do put them in the chat. I know we've got a couple of Manchester City fans that watch, like Lofa, and a couple of others that do pop in. I can't think of their names off the top of my head. Is it Demetrius or something like that as well? Or Dominus, maybe, I think is another Manchester City's fan name. Please do let us know your perspective on this, because it's one thing us talking about it, but you know, you guys will be reading up on the Manchester City stories. And Haloko said Mane, Hendo, Matip, most improved players this season. Christine Roberts said Trent is just starting out. He is, yeah. It's mad to think that he's going to set... If he starts in this Champions League final, he'll set a record for being the only player under the age of 21 to start back-to-back Champions League finals. I love that. Dara said, Craig, I'm in pain, but at least I'm out of hospital. Well, I'm glad you're home, mate. I'm not glad you're in pain, obviously. I hope the pain goes away quickly. But yeah, I'm glad you're on here, as always, Dara, because I like chatting with you, buddy. But I wish you a speedy recovery. I know you said you had some complications, so I hope they're all sorted. Firmino to Salford, said Liverpool fan. There's probably about as much chance of that as there is to the Leverkusen thing. Douglas James Horn said, watching Sky Sports News, an ex-Spurs player from a few years ago just said, both times we played Liverpool this season, we had half a team, and if Kane is fit to play, all I can say is watch out LFC. Well, he won't be, to be fair. He will be fit, and then he will declare himself fit, but I don't think you're going to see the best Harry Kane in that final because he hasn't got enough match rhythm. And I know both clubs are struggling to get a behind the closed door friendly in before the Champions League final because so many teams from Europe have now signed off for the summer. So Liverpool, I think, tried Vitesse Arnhem for a pre-season friendly, or not pre-season friendly, a pre-Champions League final friendly, and it looks like they might have to get an under-23 squad or something to have a game against them, and Spurs having similar issues. Chris said, hi Craig, Reina would be a great backup to Alisson. Yep, spoke about the same thing last night, mate. Adrian or Pepe Reina, either one for me would be a good show. Liverpool scouts were at 10 plus Lyon games, said Benny. Yeah, and they've been to quite a few this season from what I've read, mate. I don't know who Barry Hunter was looking at. I don't know if it was Memphis Depay. I don't know if it was Nabil Fekir. I don't know if it was Ndombele. I don't know if it was Dembele. I don't know if it was Uar, or, there's so many players there at Lyon you could make an argument for. James Park said, if Depay comes in, does that mean Salah or Firmino will have to go on the bench? Again, we can't just think of players coming in as a starting 11. Got to think of a squad, got to think of rotation, different formations, different ways to play different teams, maybe set up more attacking at home, which would include possibly 4 attacking players, 5 attacking players. If you're away from home, then maybe have 2 more solid defensive midfielders and then 1 less attacker. So it's horses for courses. I wouldn't ever feel like someone's coming to replace anybody else. Camacho's Instagram post about Klopp was disrespectful. I hope he fucks off, said Louis. How old is Depay? He's 25, John. For once I actually know that to be right because I researched it earlier on. Usually I get people's ages completely wrong. Is Firmino going to Napoli? What is all this nonsense about Bobby Firmino today? Leverkusen, Napoli, obviously Salford was a joke. Why would he go to Napoli? That makes no sense. He's going backwards in his career if he goes to Napoli. Craig transferred to True Geordie. No love for Craig from True Geordie at all, mate. We're not winning that battle at any time soon. Who would be your ideal signings? I said the other day, Shay, I'm not really Fekir, Depay, Neres, Werner. Who else have we talked about? Dybala. Any 2 of those type of players. Like, we can rule out Julian Brandt now, obviously. We can rule out Torgan Hazard. They're gone to Borussia Dortmund. Most of the players we've been linked with, buddy, I'll be sound with any 2 of those coming in. So yeah, some look more or less likely than others, so I don't like to speculate. But for me, Timo Werner, I would like to come in, if I'm being honest. And Neres, I'd like him to come in as well. Liverpool legend said the Champions League is magical. The Rafa magic would never make a Champions League final boring. Stroll of domination, even if it was Leyton Orient versus Real Madrid. MUFC Gamer said, you guys deserve a trophy for your football this season. It'd be a scandal if not. Obviously, as a United fan, I hope Spurs win, but it'd be hilarious to see Arsenal fans go into meltdown. That would probably be the only semi chink of light if Liverpool lost to Spurs, and I don't even want to think about that. Yeah, no, sorry, I'm not even thinking about Liverpool losing this final. I'm going full on positivity for the final. Lots of people as well saying get well to Dara, which is always lovely to see. Vinny Johnson is in. How are you, sir? Thank you for joining us. And a couple of kind comments about the podcast as well, which is really, really nice of you. Thank you. I know it was Brian's first time doing a podcast in front of a camera like that, and I think he handled himself remarkably well. I think we can all agree. So well done to Brian, well done to Connor as well. And if you're wondering where that one was filmed, that was in Connor's gaff. So just to give you a bit of an insight, because if you're like me and you're a nosy fucker, and I am a nosy fucker, I like to get all these little bits of information. What else we got? Whoever comes in needs to get used to Klopp's system. It'll be different than any way they've ever played before. Keita and Fabinho are examples, said Cobra. Yeah, and they better be fit, mate. That's another thing, because Klopp will run the bejesus out of whoever comes in. So yeah, fitness is massive, massive, massive. And I read an interesting article on Coutinho, and for the life of me now I can't remember who wrote this article, so I do apologise. But they were talking about the drop-off in Coutinho at Barcelona, partly being down to the fact, he's not feeling loved and he just isn't in a rhythm, but partly because he hasn't got Klopp levels of fitness. Actually, now that I'm saying that out loud, I think it was Paul Tompkins. He said he hasn't got Klopp fitness anymore, and don't underplay how fit our players are. I mean, Jordan Henderson's a great example, James Milner's a great example, but that is a massive part of what allows Jurgen Klopp's teams to play the way they play, is just that unbelievable fitness and energy levels. There's a reason he brought in the nutritionist and stuff and the doctor from Bayern Munich, because he rated them as the best in the world. So we went after them, got them in, and again we've seen gradual progressions. The podcast was sick, hope you do a lot more, said Robbie. Thank you. We do plan on doing them. We'll be doing some podcasts as well that won't be video, by the way. So I'll be doing some with like Cash and Dave Henry and people like that, and that'll be done over Skype, and it'll just be audio. So that'll be going out on the likes of Spotify and iTunes and stuff. But we're gonna try and do one, if we can, every week, where we meet up together and we record it. So for instance, on Monday, as you know, myself and Connor are going to be in Liverpool on Monday because we're going to the Boss Night event. So we've already got some content lined up and pre-recorded that we'll be able to have ready for you guys on Monday. But myself and Connor are going to try and record a little podcast over there, maybe in our hotel room or whatever while we're over there, so we can get one done for that week as well. Awar is my dream signing, said Alpha. I still am convinced that you people put Awar in just so I sound like a very idiotic farmer that can't get a phrase out, because that name, I think, just kills me. Awar. I wish I could learn how to pronounce that name correctly. So many notes to get through. Right, so a little bit of stuff on Carlsberg. Have you guys seen the image that I posted, and many people have posted? Carlsberg have put up a brilliant post with basically 5 cans of Carlsberg with the 5 years that Liverpool have won the European Cup, and then they said hopefully we can make it a 6-pack, and it was a wonderful post, a brilliant piece of marketing, just very clever all around, and fair play to Carlsberg. It's great to see. And the good news there is Liverpool and Carlsberg have extended their record-breaking relationship by agreeing a 5-year extension. The new deal builds up on Carlsberg's title as the longest-standing partnership in the Premier League, and will see the Danish brand become the club's official beer partner until the end of the 2023-24 season. And believe it or not, that will mean that this relationship with Liverpool and Carlsberg has lasted 31 years. 31 years. And again, credit to the Echo, where I got these bits of information from. 31 years. Fuck me. That in this day and age, that is a long partnership. So I don't actually like Carlsberg personally as a drink, but you know what? I love them as a brand. I love their clever marketing. If they could just make it taste a little bit more like Heineken, or a little bit more like whatchamacallit, the one with the lime in it. How could I not remember a beer's name? Corona. Then I'd probably, if I did have a drink, I'd be more likely to drink it, but I might even gulp some down sometime just because they're so damn good and they've got such a great relationship with our football club. Connor said, "Oi, don't diss farmers." Just a look, farmer boy, you'll take your scolding. Thoughts on Tagliafico? Very good. Very impressed with him when I watched a few games for Ajax. Haven't seen any series links to Liverpool. I like saying the name as well, Alpha G Tagliafico. It kind of rolls off the tongue a little bit. A lot easier to say than Noir as well. Pep to Juve I'd love for 2 reasons, said John Hamilton. 1, City wouldn't be the same, and 2, would really piss off Ronaldo. Yeah, I mean, anything that pisses off Ronaldo is a plus to me, to be fair. What have we got? Liverpool considering selling Xherdan Shaqiri and to fund Villarreal's Samuel Chukwueze. Is that how you pronounce the gentleman's name? A couple of people, domestic butler, yeah, saying this to me earlier on. I think the first person I'd seen talk about the sale of Shaqiri was Neil Jones, but that was, I don't know if that was to do. I think that was more along the lines of they're more likely to sell him and keep Lallana. But I don't know about this link to Chukwueze. Is that the gentleman's name? As I said, I know nothing about him, so I'm going to have to bow down to your knowledge. This is the best channel on YouTube, said Gary Mulder. Thank you, sir. Best content in your videos is the only thing I look forward to. Keep up the great work. I'm still amazed that people watch, if I'm being honest. Genuinely, I had this conversation with Domestic Butler earlier on Twitter. We were having a bit of a... He sent a few kind domestic butlers, I was going to say. You can send a few of them if you want. He sent a few kind direct messages, and we were going back and forth, and I was like, I still can't believe the way the channel has gone and how many people watch. It's madness. But long may the madness continue. Every day is me is in. How are you, my friend? Connor and Craig recording in a hotel room, said Tom Boland. I mean, there could be like a premium content coming up here, but do you know what I mean? Connor could be doing a couple of shower scenes. I won't be filming it. I want to say that straight away. And he won't be, but you know, we have to lead down these dark alleys, because it wouldn't be an Anfield Agenda stream if we didn't go down some very strange alleyways. That's even getting more and more. That's getting worse. I'm digging this whole digger. Oh, just give up talking, Craig. Just stop. Talking isn't for you, pal. Just move on. It's cheaper sharing rooms. Damn right it is. Absolutely, much cheaper sharing rooms. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? We're not big YouTubers. We're not divas. As I said the last time when we went over for the final game of the season, we stayed in a hostel because we don't like wasting money. If we're using money that people have, or money we've got from ad revenue, or money that people have sent to us or whatever, I don't like wasting it. So for the last game of the season, the Wolves game, me and Connor were in a 33 or 35 pound hostel for that night. And do you know what? It's fucking grand. Nothing wrong with it. Shaqiri or Bale? I'd take Bale, because Shaqiri doesn't get that many games, so allowing for Bale's injuries, the impact he could have in the games that he'd be available, I'd probably take Bale. Domestic Butler said, wish I liked Carlsberg. Max Dunwell said, I've subscribed. Thank you very much, Max, and welcome to the channel, mate. John Hamilton said, Craig, there was an article in the Echo regarding that guy you just mentioned linked to LFC. No idea how his name's spelled, so won't bother. I will look that up, John. Thank you, mate. People want to know what Connor's favourite food is. There you go. What's your favourite food there, farmer boy? Which is what I'm going to call you now, because you got very defensive over the farmer situation. So, you know, if you've any issues with it, mate, take it up with human resources, which is you, probably. Would Fabinho be a bench player if Liverpool signed Werner? I think he'd probably drop into the, what will be classed as the central attacking midfield position. But again, rotation. It's all about rotation, Davey. So, you know, the three front players can't play every single game. So it would be nice to shift them around a little bit and give them a bit more of a rest and allow us to concentrate on trying to win every single competition that we're in. Crosby Red said, we need clubs and fans to pressure UEFA to only stage finals in stadium with 60,000 or more, and with each other fans are given 40% of seats. I think the Champions League final does have a 60,000 minimum or something along those lines, if I'm not mistaken. I think there's more chance of me growing an afro tomorrow than them giving up 80% of seats to fans, and I don't agree with what I've said. I just think it's more realistic, because I agree with you, Crosby Red. There should be pressure on here. It is getting ridiculous. Football being taken away from fans is ridiculous. It's absolute lunacy, and it pisses me off when I hear stories in the chat tonight about people whose brothers, fathers, sisters, wives have been to so many games, home and away, all the European games, and not a sniff of a ticket for the final. And then when you see travel companies and stuff charging 3-4 grand for packages, it's more than disgusting. Pizza. Who said pizza? Oh, pizza's definitely my favourite food, by the way. Without a shadow of a doubt, I fucking love pizza. Do you know when Brewster will be fit? He is fit. He's going to be he was in the squad for the final, Ben, so He could be on the bench. And now remember, Liverpool and Spurs are allowed to have 12 substitutes in this year's Champions League final. Not make 12 substitutions, but they're allowed 12 players on the bench. So Ryan Brewster, I think, will be on the bench, Ben, for the final, as will Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, as will hopefully Bobby Firmino and possibly even Naby Keita. A lot of people asking about Pep and Juve. My honest answer, I don't know. I really don't know. Of course, I want him to go to Juventus if there's any chance whatsoever, but I really don't see it happening. I think he'd probably stay at City for a couple more years. What's all this about Cundy? You know my thoughts on Jason Cundy. Jason Cundy said Mane and Salah will leave after the Champions League final. Jason Cundy can kiss my ass. I am sick of that gobby little gobshite coming out with his nonsense just to try and provoke reactions. And I suppose he's doing it because I'm here moaning about him, haven't I? But Cundy, look, let's be fair about this. Cundy dislikes anything not London based, from what I can gather, and particularly with, he even dissed his own club Spurs by cheering on Manchester City when he fucking played for Spurs. Now I know that Cundy will be more of a Chelsea legend, if you want to use the word legend with Jason Cundy, but he did play for Spurs and he was there cheering on Manchester City against Spurs. That tells you everything you need to know about that little gobshite. Jason Cundy is a fool. I'm trying not to say the words that I want to say because I don't want to have the channel closed down. But Jason Cundy, as I'm going to read out your comments because that's just me reading out comments. Cundy's a knob jockey. Fuck Jason Cundy. Cundy is a dickwad. Oh God, you've no idea how good this feels to read. So there you go. You can see people's thoughts on Jason Cundy. Plus, he knows absolutely sweet FA about Liverpool. Why would he have any contacts to our club? Why would anybody give Jason Cundy any information about Liverpool Football Club? He is just an also-ran that likes to try and stay relevant. I'd put him in the same bracket as old hairy hands over that works with beIN Sport, Richard Keys. Just a gobby idiot that just likes to say stuff to provoke reactions. And coming from a fellow gobby idiot that sometimes provokes reactions, although I believe I have a better heart than Jason Cundy, I'm sick of him. I'm absolutely sick of him and his nonsense. And that whole channel, by the way, the Talk Sport can just fuck off as well. Fourth sub allowed in the Champions League if it goes to extra time, said Gonads. Oh, don't be teasing me, Sean, with pizza slice emojis. I'll be starving. I already am starving. Happily Egg said Griezmann same as Bale, too high to buy, too big of a wage packet, no value for money. Guys, thank you to everyone who's in the chat. Don't forget, if you haven't subscribed and you're enjoying the stream, please do hit that subscribe button and drop a thumbs up as well. Any news on Timo Werner or Depay? We did speak about Depay a little bit earlier, Liam. Nothing from me on Timo Werner today. I've heard nothing. Maybe other people have. Memphis Depay, I think it's gathering a bit of pace, mate. I don't want to say it is or it isn't going to happen because I do not know. But there's been more stories today on Memphis Depay and some figures ranging between 35 and 50. Who is this Cundy fella? The less you know about him, Alpha G, probably the better for your own life, mate, to be fair. Would love to see a one-on-one with you and Cundy. Can we make it a triple threat match and throw in Mr. Double Initials as well? And that way I could get all my frustrations out in one tables, ladders and chairs match or something like that. That'd be fun. We talked charity boxing before, but fuck it, why not go full on TLC match? Let's see how long Pep wants to stay with City after we win the Champions League and the Premier League next year, said Crosby Red. I love your way of thinking, mate. I've heard Pep had an agreement with Juve that he'll go after his contract, and that's what I've always thought as well, Dave. Pep does usually see out his contracts, to be fair. Gavin Ennis said I'd put Cundy in the same bracket as Donald Trump. Nice, mate, nice. Don't you think with our history, Craig, Anfield deserve the Champions League final? I don't think that there would be a good enough infrastructure in and around Anfield to host the Champions League final, if I'm being honest, domestic butler. Of course, the history and the heritage of the club, yes, but look at it from a practical point of view. Arsenal Stadium's bigger, Spurs' new stadium is bigger, Wembley is bigger, Old Trafford is bigger. I can't remember, probably there might be even one more. I don't know about what is St James's Park. I can't remember. I don't know what the capacity is there off the top of my head. And then you've got to think about hotel rooms and stuff as well. I don't know if Liverpool would have enough hotel rooms, but of course I'd love it to happen. It'd be great. PSG owner under investigation for fraud. Anything to do with footy? Not that I'm aware of for this particular incident. I don't think it does track back to Paris Saint-Germain from my very limited understanding, mate. If City gets the Champions League ban, I bet Pep looks for an out, said Darkness. Well, it looks like they will get a ban. It's just whether that can be enforced or whether that will be overturned by the Court of Arbitration for Sport. I'm going looking for transfer news. Be back in a second, said Mossy. WrestleMania main event, Craig versus Cundy versus Mr. Double Initial, a Hell in a Cell match, mate. Sign me up. Sign me up, mate. Cardiff Stadium as well, yeah, exactly. Another great stadium. Actually, it's a stadium, the Millennium Stadium is somewhere, I don't think it's called the Millennium anymore, is it? But is it the Principality Stadium now? It's a stadium I want to go to a game in because it looks fantastic. We couldn't host the Champions League final in Liverpool. We don't have a 4-tier stadium, and the city needs to be at least a 60,000 capacity too, said Kieran. Will Liverpool get a new stadium? No, mate. The decision was made when FSG looked at it a few years ago. They talked about either redeveloping Stanley Park or, redoing Anfield. And much like they did with Fenway Park with the Boston Red Sox, they decided after consultation with the fans and stuff that there's just too much history and too much magic in that stadium to relocate. So what they've done is obviously the main stand, and now they're looking at doing the Annie Road end as well and push it towards the 60k mark. But we all know, and we would all like more seats, let's be fair. But I think they have listened and tried to do the right things, albeit the fact that we would all absolutely love more seats. There's no two ways about that. Connor said would love a final in Croke Park. That would be class. I wonder what they'd have to do though, mate, with the canal end, or the Hill 16 end, with that. They could put seats in there, of course, but I wonder would that meet UEFA's requirements. St James's Park holds just over 52,000, said John. Thank you for that, mate. I've been to the Principality Stadium. It's class, said Big Man Steve. Somebody was describing it to me before, mate, that they said that you go in at ground, or you go in from, say, road level, and you walk down to certain parts of the stadium, which I find fascinating, because usually when you go into a football stadium, you're walking up steps, aren't you? What's going to be bigger, Anfield or Everton's new stadium? Hand on heart, mate, I care that little about Everton's new Bramley Apple Pie in the Sky stadium that I don't know. I've no interest in their capacity. I've no interest in anything to do with that stadium. So I've not really looked at it, mate, because I could care less. I don't mean that to be rude. I just don't give a shit about Everton Stadium. Would I dress like Roberto Firmino on vacation for 10 years if you win the league next year? If you want to buy me the clobber, mate, then do you know what I mean? I'll come on stream dressed as anything. Stephen Richard said the Annie Road end will eventually be extended. We do know, of course, that there is outline planning permission there. Craig, is this legit, the Depay transfer? You can't say anything is legit, Gary, until the ink is dry on the contract and he's standing there with the shirt in his hand. Until then, mate, everything is just guesswork, conjecture and media reports. I don't do the ITK thing. I don't go down that road. I don't try and mislead people. Yeah, look, I know on YouTube everybody's thumbnails and stuff are a little bit clickbaity. I suppose it is. Everyone's they probably no, I've no right to say everybody, sorry. A lot of football accounts, you try and draw people in with a little bit of clickbaity behaviour. I mean, hands up, but you have to do it. But if people come, they think the content shit, then they'll go away again. So we back ourselves that if people give us a chance and they come in, they like what they see and they like the chat, and they usually do stay, which I like. Probably the best channel in the world, Carlsberg told me. I told them, no, definitely. It's a domestic butler. Mate, I'm loving you more and more by the day here. Do you know, I can feel this domestic butler Anfield agenda bromance building. Why can't the Champions League final be held in the country of the previous season's winners? I think they just... I think UEFA try and disguise it with this fairness of sharing it around Europe, which I don't think is true. I think it's basically whoever gives them the best fucking deal for UEFA. That's my opinion. Now, I've no facts to back that up, but let me just say, Europa League finals in Baku. Champions League final was in Kiev, which is both wonderful cities, by the way, but an absolute pain in the arse for fans travelling from the other side of Europe, which is kind of where most of the finalists come from. Germany, Spain, England. That's where Italy occasionally is where you get Champions League finalists from, and that is all the fans then having to go all the way across the world, basically. Craig, I just wanted to say the podcast was class. Wow, thank you. I'm so glad people enjoyed that podcast, because you guys know podcasting was my background, and that's where I started, and I loved doing it, and I was very much looking forward to getting back. I didn't want it to be to the detriment of what we do on here, so I'm trying to make more time available in my life so I can record some more of them with the guys. But thank you for those kind words. I think they'll only get better from here as well, because it's about getting into a rhythm, and it was Brian Morrissey's first time. I'm not sure if it was Connor's first. No, Connor's done a couple of video podcasts before, I think. But anyway, yeah, it's about getting into a rhythm, and Dave will be introduced as well from Dave's LFC Chats. He's going to be a podcast regular going forward, I hope, as well. There's more of a chance of a dog mating than the shite getting into that new ground, said Liam Granby. Guys, I've got so much stuff in my notes to get through. And sometimes I get so caught up in reading comments, which is what this show is all about, that I forget to have a look at the list that I put together. So, we spoke before about Liverpool topping the Premier League payments list, or TV revenue list, or money list, whatever you want to call it, for this season. And somebody was kind enough to tag me in a post earlier on that gives a breakdown of quite how much the teams have got. So Liverpool topped the money list this season with £152,425,146 in income or payments from the Premier League, whether that be, I think, through television revenue or whatever it is, prize money. That's how much Liverpool have made for the 2018-2019 season. I'm going to say it again because it just sounds mad to say. £152,425,146. And next on the list were, of course, the league winners, Manchester City, with £150,986,355. So, yeah, even though we didn't win the league, Liverpool brought in the most money this season from the Premier League. So, good stuff. I mean, it's crazy to talk about that much money, isn't it? Like 152 million. And we posted £100 million profit this season. And we're going to take in 90 or 100 million probably from Champions League revenue. Serious money in football, isn't there? Serious money. If we win the Champions League, we have to play in the UEFA Super Cup. Yes, absolutely. I think, is that in August? Am I right in saying that's in August, or am I wrong? Let me see your handwriting, said Alpha G. Why? That's a very strange thing to ask. If you were looking at my phone, mate, it wasn't handwriting. I was looking at an image that somebody sent to me. So yeah, it wasn't handwriting. I was looking at my phone. My handwriting's shocking, by the way. I'm a kitogue, which in Irish means left-handed. Sorry, I'm left-handed, so I've shocking handwriting. Not that all left-handed people have shocking handwriting, but this one does. Manure with 10 million less, said James. Hey, how can we make that money? And some journals say we've got 20 million to spend. There's no way we've got 20 million to spend, mate. Sure, we're going to bring in 100 million roughly in sales. So for the 20 million, that's just nonsense. I firmly believe that. I don't think Jurgen Klopp has a budget. I think that Jurgen Klopp just says, I think I need 3 players. I think I need to strengthen in, let's say, 3 positions. I have 5 or 6 players in each one of these positions. And then the club goes about trying to get the number 1 target in each position, and then working down in, obviously, consultation with Jurgen Klopp about what he wants. I think as long as it's not world record breaking, and I don't mean like the way we did with a keeper and a defender, I mean like 250 million, Jurgen Klopp will be backed by the owners, because he has earned the right to be backed, and he has shown them what he can do with backing and how astute he can be in his signings, obviously along with Michael Edwards and Barry Hunter and the rest of the scouting department. 152 million will only buy you 2 or 3 decent players, that's all. Just 152 mil. Craig, Cork or Dundalk? Dundalk for me, the real ginger, Steve. I'd probably edge with Dundalk. Not if we win, but the Champions League, I don't know what to do. How difficult is it to get a ticket for a game at Anfield, or season tickets is no go, mate. The waiting list isn't even open. So for the season tickets, there's obviously the people that have them, then there's a waiting list, and then they had to close off the waiting list because there's just no hope, basically. As for getting a ticket to a game, Yeah, that can be got if you buy it through either secondary sites, or you buy it through the club's official travel partners, or you buy a membership to the club and you go into the sales and get lucky and manage to get a ticket or two. What else have we got? What about Anderson from West Ham? We've already gone through that one a little bit earlier on, Sarah. I don't think it's a goer. Great player. What always make me doubt that, Sarah, is the amount of money that West Ham would want, and then you look at value for money against other type of players in similar positions, and I don't see it happening. Any news on Dybala? Absolutely nothing, Mohammed, that I've seen, mate. Absolutely nothing Liverpool related on Paulo Dybala. Nothing. As much as I'd love it to be there. Willow said the waiting list's over 10 years, and as I said, they did close off the waiting list, so you can't even get onto that waiting list, which is nuts. I mean, God, yeah. Any other club in the Premier League that I'm aware of, I could pretty much say I could get, if I wanted to 10 games a season easily. Any of them, include United in that. But Liverpool, yeah, it's so difficult for everybody. Dominus, question for you, my friend, Manchester City fan. We were talking about Pep Guardiola and Juventus. From your side, what have you seen? Anything on this? Is it absolute nonsense? Ronaldo has been issued a rape summons, said Neil Anthony. I haven't seen that today, mate, personally, but we do know of the Catherine Mayorga, I believe the lady's name is. Obviously, most people are aware of that ongoing accusation, I suppose is the correct way I have to phrase it right now. Dylan said, Craig, I'm back from my holiday. I'm back in the stream. Welcome, Dylan. I hope you had a lovely trip. And thank you for the email, Dylan, as well. I think that if Klopp went to the board and said he wanted Mbappe for 200 million, he'd still get backing. Do you know what? I wouldn't rule it out. If he really, if he said this is it, this is the last piece of the jigsaw, this is the one that I want, guys, I think they would probably try and fund it. Maybe partly through sales of, as we're talking about, the Wilsons, the Kleins, those type of players. Has Depay joined Liverpool? No, Scott hasn't joined Liverpool yet. Not that I'm saying he's definitely going to join Liverpool either, but there's been more and more links coming out today as the day has gone by. Dominus Earth said, hope you guys win the Champions League. Thank you very much, buddy. So do I. Very, very much so. Edward, I can't read that comment out, mate. I'm sorry. Neil Anthony said, I'll take a player with that arrogance to believe he's better than our front three. Depay has that belief. We need that arrogance in our team. Yeah, that's a good point. You do need the kind of perfect balance between arrogance and not having an attitude. And I suppose any footballer at the very elite level has to believe in themselves and has to believe in themselves 100%. And you often hear things like you've said there, I don't want to go to that club because I won't get enough playing time. Well, then you get the real elite players who go, do you know what? I'm getting in there. I'm better than them. I back myself. I'll get in there and I'll show the gaffer that I'm worth a starting place. And I think that would actually be the type of player that Jurgen Klopp would go, yes, perfect. And if Jurgen Klopp sees that steel and that belief in somebody, then that's probably the more than likely the type of player that you'd sign. Depay will be a brilliant signing to Liverpool Football Club. Oh, his rape summons has been talked about for the past hour, said Kieran. Thank you. I don't like. I have to be so careful of these type of things, you know. Some things, if I say it, they can't be unsaid. On around subjects like that, a very sensitive subject that needs to be treated with the utmost respect for all concerned. I'm always very careful about what I say. If you have season tickets, can you bequeath them to the family? No. But there was an amnesty, I believe, at one point recently where I think there were some people with season tickets that were like 120 years old or something like that. Maybe I'm exaggerating a bit, but I don't believe technically you can. I think you can apply to the club, but I don't think there is something in place, unless of course I've missed something that's changed in recent years. Can you imagine a front three of Mbappe, Firmino, Salah and Mane? Oh God, mate, that'd be class, James, wouldn't it? That would be absolutely class. Mohammed said, Craig, Harry Wilson, is he going to leave? I believe so. From what I'm starting to read, originally I had thought that he'd go out on loan, but I think they might move him on. I would be amazed though, Mohammed, mate, if there isn't a clause in there somewhere, whether it be we're the first club to have talks with him, or there's a specific amount in a buyback clause. I'd be amazed, absolutely amazed. We've done it with other players, so If you move on Harry Wilson, then you'd have to put that in there, surely. Do I support any teams in the League of Ireland? Not really, no. I grew up very close to Bray Wanderers. I mean, I grew up maybe 3, 4, 5 miles away from the Carlisle grounds, so they'd be the closest team. Yeah, but no, I would watch it if it's on TV, don't get me wrong, but I'd be lying to say that I support any teams in the League of Ireland. I mean, family would probably most likely lean towards Shelbourne. Do you think Depay would get hate from United fans? It's an interesting question. I don't know, I haven't really given it much thought. Nah, I don't think he would, to be fair. I think they would see that it clearly didn't work out for him at United for whatever reason, whether it be the manager, whether it be his own development wasn't quite there yet. There's always got to be some. So I would say, though, any hardcore United fans whose opinions I respect would kind of understand it. What else we got? Dominus Earth said Liverpool can transform Depay into a superstar, especially with the chemistry with Van Dijk and Gini Wijnaldum. Every time I say Wijnaldum, I just want to go do. And tell me you don't as well. Come on, tell me half of you aren't going around your house going do. Even in your heads. Come on, be honest. I know you are. What else we got? Nah, don't need the arrogance, we need hunger. Depay would have to be able to take some time on the bench. Just don't feel he has the temperament needed to be in a Klopp squad, said Maverick. I love that I'm getting such a good cross-section of opinions on this situation with Memphis Depay, because I think then we can put together a better picture of the player and a better well, to be fair, it makes me flop one way and the other with Memphis Depay. He's one of those that originally I was like, no, don't like his attitude, seeing things about him, wouldn't fit in. But I keep coming back to the same point. If Jurgen Klopp decides he wants to sign anybody, then how can we doubt their mentality? Or how can we doubt their attitude? Because he just quite simply wouldn't sign players with attitude issues, because he wouldn't want to undermine what he's built at the team and the harmony that's in that squad. Gary Richard said, any news on Werner? Not for me, mate, sorry, not that I've seen today. I think Depay would play as a striker, said Jack. Even if we would... Oh, what was this? Sorry, I missed part of that comment. Did somebody say, Craig, are you Irish? Because I'm from Limerick. Yes, I am. Absolutely Irish, mate. You've been in here plenty of times. How do you not know I'm Irish at this point? I am, yeah. I'm originally from Dublin. Now I live in Wexford. But you're from Limerick, which is a city that's undergone massive transformation actually over the past 15, 20 years. Beautiful city, Limerick. Craig, who's been the most impressive player this season? It's got to be Van Dijk, hasn't it? Van Dijk, Robertson, Mane, probably be the top 3 on my list. The most improved, I said Gini Wijnaldum, but if I just had to pick 3 players who I think have performed the best, Robertson, Van Dijk and Mane have stood out for me this season as players I believe that have been vitally important at specific times. I know you're going to say to me, Craig, Salah has scored the same amount of goals. I get that. I completely understand that. I think Mane has had more of an impact this season for Liverpool than Mo Salah. But you know what? That's not a slight on Mohamed Salah, because they are both superstars. See, even Liverpool Football Club's writing it in there. Go on, tell me it's not in your head. And if it's not, I'm putting it in your heads now, and you're going to be going around later on going, that bald bastard. I'm going around this house now going, go on. Oh, you can hate me tomorrow, ladies and gents. Craig isn't Irish, he's dub, said Elisha John. Leon would put up his fee like Fekir. Greedy. Fekir, they're kind of in a situation with Fekir where they've kind of got to sell him, Sarah, because he's got 1 year left on his contract. Does anybody know the situation of Memphis Depay's contract at Lyon actually? Because hand on heart, I genuinely don't know what the situation is. Anthony Cronin said, you live in Wexford as well, mate, do you? I'm in Gorey, is the part of Wexford I'm in, mate. Not that I'm asking you to let me know what part you're in, I'm just saying to you, Gorey is where I am. You're very welcome, Dominus Earth, mate. As I've said, any questions you guys ever have for me, if there's anything you've ever wanted to know or weren't sure of, if I can answer your question, I absolutely will. Alison has been immense, said familiar to billions. Did I see Kev writes in? How are you, Kev? Great to have you with us, buddy. Still got a long time to go, guys. I mean, we're doing 2-hour streams lately, so let's say we've another 30-35 minutes to go on tonight's stream, so still lots of time to get your questions in. Anthony Cronin said, what the fuck, Craig? I live in Gorey too. It's a small world, mate, isn't it? It's a small, small world. So when you were in hospital, Anthony, were you up in St. Vincent's or were you in Wexford? Or were you perhaps in Colmkills and Loughlinstown? Because you did say you were in hospital earlier on. Nice jersey, mate. Where did you buy it and how much was it? I bought it in Florida last year, Ross, on holidays, mate. I think the store was called the United World of Soccer. I want to say that was the name of the store. Brilliant shop, by the way. Absolutely brilliant shop in Orlando. Recommend it to anybody that's over in Florida. I got the Columbus Crew shirt. I think I bought like 6 shirts, 5-6 shirts in there. I think this one was, I think it gave me a good deal because I bought a few shirts. So I think I paid about $45 for this shirt, which is really cheap because I've looked at buying MLS shirts before and they were like $120. So yeah, your man in the store, I don't know if it was an end of season sale or whatever, but yeah, he really looked after me over there. Has my son been to Anfield? No, not yet. My daughter has. We were there for a Sunderland game maybe 4 or 5 years ago. No, my son hasn't been there yet. I'm thinking of taking him soon, but he'd have to wear his ear defenders because I think it would be a bit too loud for him. He does have sensory issues around having autism, so I think probably have ear defenders on him if he went. But you know what? He is living in his Liverpool kits these days. With the warm weather coming in, I can't get him out of the new goalkeeper's kit and the new red kit, and it makes me a very happy daddy seeing him loving his new kits. You were in Wexford Hospital. That's where my son was born, Anthony. Do you think Pep will leave City this summer? Or who do I think will leave City? Sorry, I just assumed you were talking about Pep. Leroy Sane, and that brings me on to Leroy Sane. So well done, Douglas James. Good segue there for me. So our very own Dave Henry was in contact today, and as you know, Dave lives in Germany, so gets all the local gossip or the German newspaper gossip, and he said that the media in Germany are all over Leroy Sane to Bayern Munich. They're almost saying it's a done deal, I believe. A rough guide, Dave said, is about 60 million. Now, I'm not sure if that's 60 million euro or if that's 60 million pound, but I'm amazed, absolutely flabbergasted that Manchester City would be open to selling Leroy Sane. I don't know if him and Pep don't get on. I don't know maybe if he has attitude issues, but I tell you what, I would take him at Liverpool in a heartbeat. I think he is a sensational footballer. But yeah, it's mental. I have more news on Bayern Munich as well, which is staggering, which I'll get through in a second. But what do you guys think? Do you think this will happen? Do you think he's going to go to Bayern Munich? And do you think 60 million is a fair price? First drink money for your missus for the final, Craig. Mine would throw shit at me if I kept going off to make YouTube videos. Love from Australia. I am so lucky, mate. I have a really understanding wife. Sometimes I think she just wants to get rid of me. And I think maybe all wives have that about the husbands a little bit. And sometimes it's just good timing because she's putting her son to bed. But mainly she's just an awesome woman and she just lets me away with murder, which is, when I say lets me away with murder, please understand that is a phrase. I'm not saying that from an actual, I'm not saying, I've killed anybody. I'm just saying she lets me away with stuff that I probably should get a kick in the arse for. I'm a lucky guy, what can I say? What else we got? Yes, sorry, I said I got more news on Bayern Munich, didn't I? So, Bayern Munich have had a very long-standing relationship with Audi, and it looked like BMW were going to try and muscle in a renegotiation as what is the club's official, I think it's the club's official transportation partner or something like that. It looks like, this is a staggering amount of money, by the way. It looks like Bayern Munich are very close to signing a 12-year up to 1 billion euro partnership deal with Audi. Where do you go with that? And I'm not I don't think this is shirt sponsorship either. I think this is just a partnership deal to be their official transport partner or something like that. Up to 1 billion euro for a 12-year deal. Madness. I mean, the money in football is just going crazy. And Dave also let me know something else which I didn't know. So again, massive love to Dave and shout out to him. Ligue 1, the French league, have capped away fans tickets at €10, which is absolutely class on their behalf. So well done to the French League for that one. Capping away fans' tickets at €10. We know in England there's a movement to say 20 is plenty, so away fans probably shouldn't pay more than £20. But I mean, again, Europe leading the way. I know in Germany, match tickets, season tickets are far more affordable than they are in England. And here we go, the French League capping away fans' tickets at €10, which is about £7.50, which is just brilliant. So well done to them. Edward, thank you, mate. Say Depay's contract expires July 2021, and I'm sure there was probably a few more people that did put that in as well. But thank you, Edward, mate. I do appreciate that. James said Depay or Neres. I would go with Neres personally, James, because still more development in him. He's 22 years of age. Like Depay, he can play in a few positions across. Maybe it's the built-in thought in my head that Depay has an attitude that would lean me towards Neres, but that's where I'd go personally. I don't think the money would be too different, somewhere around the 40 to 50 million mark. Proper Austin Powers moment right there. That's what I was thinking. $1 billion. And fuck off with the comments that are going to say that I look a bit like the ball twat as well. I know. I don't have a mini-me though. I'd love a little mini-me. Do you know what I mean? A little bald mini-me walking around the gaff after me going, hey mini-me, what do you think about this? I'd love that. Who wouldn't we all? I mean, Sabrina won't let me have a helper monkey. Do you know what I mean? She won't let me have a pet monkey. I've asked probably nearly since the day we met. Certainly since the day we moved in. She won't let me have a pet monkey. She let me have a dog, but no pet monkey. I mean, where's the fairness in life? Imagine me sitting here now doing this stream, little pet monkey propped up here beside me. Do you know what I mean? Giving it all that, do you know what I mean? Dressed up in a little Liverpool kit and all. The fun we could have. So everybody, hashtag blame Sabrina for no monkey. Got to go to bed, Craig. Great stream as always. Domestic butler, mate. It's always a pleasure. Thank you. Bayern Munich found a new way around FFP, so watch City sign on with Daewoo or Lada. To be fair, Tom, Bayern Munich have been a very, very profitable and extremely well-run football club for a very long time. So I don't think this is fiddling the books, to be fair. I genuinely believe this is a real deal. I have an exam tomorrow. Always get distracted staring into space, said Edward. Well, mate, concentrate. Your schooling's important, buddy. Turn off the stream and go and get your work done. I don't want your parents being angry at us. I'm a parent myself with a daughter that has exams coming up in the next couple of 2-3 weeks. You look more like Dara O'Brien. I've definitely heard that one, mate. I mean, I've heard them all. You name a ball person, I've heard it. Dara O'Brien, Uncle Fester, Humpty Dumpty. Who else was there? Pepe Reina, Alexi, wherever the guy is from, the what's it? The young ones. I don't remember that guy's name. Yeah, I've heard them all the bald ones. I've been compared to every single one of them. The one that annoyed me the most was Matt Lucas, because I absolutely do not believe or look anything like Matt Lucas. Do you think United will challenge for the Premier League next season? No, I don't, Gary, and that's just not an anti-Manchester United bias. I think they have a lot of work to do behind the scenes at that club. They need to put in the director of football, as we know. I don't think Solskjaer is anywhere near good enough to be managing Manchester United. They need to rebuild. They need a centre-back. They need midfielders. They need a lot, and I don't think they can do that in one transfer window, even with the financial power that Manchester United have. Ross said, I've been watching your streams for 2 months now. I've watched your stream number go up and up and up. I love your passion for our club. Keep it up, mate. I don't know what to say, mate. It's very humbling when you see these type of messages, so thank you so much. And like you, mate, I can't believe the numbers are going up and up and up as well, but all I can say is thank you to everyone that is coming in and subscribing and joining us. And on that, if you haven't hit the button yet, then as Ross has said, he's been watching for 2 months, he's been enjoying it, so if you're feeling the same, please do hit that subscribe button. Spurs did so well to beat Ajax. Liverpool's comeback was way better. It was 2 mental nights of football, wasn't it? Those Champions League games on the Tuesday and the Wednesday. Absolutely madness. Liverpool to come from 3-0 down in the second leg to beat Barcelona at home 4-0, and then Spurs to go and score 3 second half goals away at Ajax to put them through. Yeah, it's craziness, and two of the best Champions League semi-finals you'll remember in a very long time. Zidane, question mark. I don't know what that means, Boris. If you're asking me what I think of Zidane as a manager, or if Zidane to somewhere, I don't know, mate. Leicester City close to signing Arjen Robben. Is that real? Wow. If that's real, it's weird. That's all I can say about that. It's just weird. Brendan Rodgers pulling rabbits out of hats there. I mean, what is he? 36? Arjen Robben? Something like that? 35? That's weird, yeah. I didn't see that one coming. United are light years away from getting back to the top, said Maverick. What else we got? Craig, you look like Dan Aykroyd in Coneheads, just without the pointy head. I'm glad you threw in that last part, mate. Do you know what I mean? My wife was a Conehead when she was born. Ha, Sabrina, so if you're watching, ha ha ha. Try and talk about it with that one, love. She was one of those babies that was suctioned with it and had one of those cone ass heads. So she was going around with a hat on for the first few weeks of her life because she was suctioned out. And now that you've reminded me, I'm going to call her Conehead more often. So thank you for that one. So Sabrina, if you've any hate, mate, please, or mate, like I'm calling my wife mate. If you've any hate, Sabrina, please do aim it there at John Hamilton. Feel free. You look like The Rock, Adam. And I always knew, me and you, mate. I always knew there was something here. I fucking wish I looked like The Rock. So everybody, you know this spousal game where you say you can cheat. You have two people, or two or three famous people that you can cheat with. Sabrina's was always The Rock, Johnny Depp, because she's a bit of a weirdo. And who was the other one? Oh, Anthony Joshua. I think they were the only ones. And well, I mean, what the fuck am I going to say, by the way, if Anthony Joshua or The Rock is there and my missus is cheating him? I'm hardly going to square up to them, am I? Because, you know, they put me into next week. Jace is in. How are you, Jace? Great to see you back, buddy. I hope you're keeping well. Hope the family are well. And no doubt you're looking forward to the final. To repeat something I said on here a couple of months ago, Anfield was named after a field in Wexford. Somebody told me that before, actually, mate, as well, yeah. Jace Roberts, I need to get you on a podcast at some point, Jace. We've been flirting with this now for a while, buddy. We need to get you on at some point. You scored 3 goals in the second half, said the real Ginger Steve. Yeah, I know, mate, but it was just both those semi-finals. It was just 3 nights of football I'll never forget for varying reasons. One, the heartbreak when Vincent Kompany scored on the Monday night against Leicester. Then the utter elation when Liverpool beat Barcelona 4-0, and then just as a neutral, just being gobsmacked at what unfolded in Amsterdam in the Spurs game. It was just 3 mad nights of football in a row that I don't remember having those range of emotions in that such a short period of time watching football. It was crazy, apart from obviously Istanbul. What does it mean when you refer to yourself as a chav? Okay, so if I'm referring to myself as a chav, it would be a kind of, and I'm not putting disparaging comments out about anybody else. I'm only talking about how I refer to myself here, mate. So it's a tracksuit top wearing, hoodie wearing, council estate living, kind of working class, cheeky chappy, scally kind of. I'm trying to describe it, mate, as best I can. Basically, I just don't dress up. Like for me, dressing up is putting on a pair of jeans. Other than that, it's tracksuit bottoms, it's a hoodie. I've always been that way. I've always felt more comfortable in those type of clothes. Yeah, so that's what I would call, why I call myself a chav. Now, the meaning of the word chav and the way it's been used disparagingly towards other people, I can't speak to, but I can just tell you about why I would jokingly refer to myself as a chav. Anthony Cronson got your blood checked today. I hope the results are all tickety-boo, mate. I know you were in hospital, you were unwell, so I do hope they come back. Jace Roberts said, if I walk in on The Rock or AJ boning my missus, I'm offering to put the kettle on and making the most out of having control of the downstairs television. What else can you do, Jace? Do you know what I mean, mate? If it's The Rock or AJ, I mean, we ain't going to do jack shit about it, mate, are we, to be fair? 1 sugar or 2, as you've rightly said. I literally thought 100% we were out of the Champions League after the first Barca game. It was weird. It was really weird. And Jace, I haven't spoken to you in so long, mate. I'd love your thoughts on this. So myself and Connor were talking that day, And, you know, you don't want to look smart after the fact because that's not what we're trying to do. But from speaking to Cash, to Dave, to Connor, we all just felt something. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was blind optimism, but there was something that day that I think people were feeling like this isn't impossible. It's improbable, but definitely not impossible. Because one, it's Anfield on a European night. Two, that first game was never a 3-0 game. There's no way Barcelona deserved to beat us by 3-0 on that night. 4 or 3, we were very fortunate that it wasn't 4-0 right at the end though, because Dembele missed an absolute sitter, and that kind of kept some belief alive. And couple all of that with the level of performance from the players, the cleverness from Jurgen Klopp in the way he went about his job there, and the way he got the players to... He kind of divided the game up into sections as well. I said all week, and you can, if you think I'm talking shit here, go back and check. I said go in at 1-0 at half time. If we go in at 1-0 at half time, anything is possible. It was all about not conceding. And look, we rode our luck at times. There was a brilliant ball played through by Messi to Jordi Alba that produced a fantastic save from Alisson Becker. Messi had a chance again up the other end that Alisson saved when we appealed for a handball, I think it was. But I don't think even 4-0 was too much of a reflection. We could have won that game 5 or 6-0. But it was the most Liverpool and Anfield way to do it. It was storybook, and it was something that, yeah, you would say you will see again at some point, because Anfield, as much as people like to play down that as a factor, it's special. It's special in Europe. There's just something about it. It's magical. It's the only words I can use. You all seen what unfolded. Jay said, yeah, defo will sort that podcast appearance. There you go. Yeah, I know you're a busy man, Jay, so we'll pencil something in at some time that suits everybody, mate, and there's no pressure from our end. It's just great to have you on at some point. Maybe we'll do a bit of a season review some point over the summer, Jace, if that works. Brendan Rodgers wants Jay Spearing as Leicester captain. Can you imagine? Where is Jay Spearing? Blackpool was the last I remember Jay Spearing. After that, I've no idea. Was he at Bolton, actually? Bolton and Blackpool. They're the last two clubs I remember him playing for. Alisson's leg is worth about 40 million to Liverpool. His save against Napoli, without that save right at the end, we wouldn't be where we are now. And look, we can point to other things as well, but that save, that one save right at the end against Napoli, it's mad how things can change, isn't it? And we spoke about small margins, and we've spoken about the head-to-heads with Manchester City, and we spoke about the goal that was so many millimetres from not going over the line or over the line. It is mad. Small margins, little moments in football, and things can change. Blackpool, he's still at, said Liam. Thank you. Thank you for that one. A few more bits and pieces as well. So much today. I read one article today actually that, and this isn't really much of a news story, but Klopp is expected to be significantly backed in the summer transfer window. Now I know that's a very vague term, but it kind of did go a little bit against what other people were saying, and I know some people said there's 20 million pound as a budget, which was always nonsense. They're clearly more than that. There was also very loose links to Liverpool for James Rodriguez. Now I'd be amazed, absolutely amazed, and I'm saying this is a no-go pretty much. I just have to talk about it because I read it. Madrid are desperate to offload James Rodriguez. They're desperate to offload Gareth Bale, and you're going to see those two players linked with pretty much every club around Europe. The key thing for me here is that Bayern Munich had him on a 2-year loan deal, and they don't seem to want to keep him there, and that tells me everything I need to know about James Rodriguez. So for me, hard pass on James Rodriguez. Jay said, leading into the Barca game, I thought we'd win, but wasn't confident that they wouldn't score. However, the Anfield factor, which is real despite some downplaying it, the resilience of our team, which, another comment to come, he's writing that, we'll get back to it. Adam Park said, I filled my trousers when Alisson had to make that save versus Napoli. I have questions, mate, but I don't want to answer them because I'm afraid of the answers. I don't want to ask them, I'm afraid of the answers. Bale probably be linked to Bray Wanderers. If they thought there was any chance of that, mate, I'm sure it would be in one of the Spanish Marca or one of those papers. What do I think will happen to Grujic? I hope he just goes out on loan again, Scotty. Yeah, I hope he goes on loan because I really do believe there's a top level player in Marco Grujic when he, fully develops. I don't think another year at Hertha would be good enough. I think you want to push him on a little bit further. And I said before, I read that some people are linking him to a move to a club that's playing in the Europa or in some type of European competition. So that would make sense. We've also seen links to Atletico and talk of 45 million or 40 million from. I just hope he stays. I really like Marco Grujic, and he's a massive guy as well. Imagine having him and Fabinho as options in that defensive midfield position. It'd be class. And then Jay said, we've shown a lot this season, and the complacency of Barcelona meant that we were able to shell shock them to a man. We outworked and outplayed them, fully deserved the win after an unfair 3-0 first leg. Spot on, Jace. I agree with everything that you've said. It was never a 3-0, although it was a 3-0. And like you, I thought we'd beat them. I was very confident we beat them at home, and it was all about not conceding. And we did it, and it was amazing. I will never forget it. And how brilliant is that to say? How do you record a podcast? There's so many different ways, Edward, but rather than me giving you a half-arsed explanation, what I'd recommend is just go onto YouTube, buddy. There is video after video after video of instructions of how to record podcasts, because there's no one way of doing it. So some people like myself would use a screen recording software and just pull the audio from that. Other people would use something like the Adobe Audition, I think it is, that Connor might use on his computer to record audio. Other people, there's so many different things that you can use. What is the free one that I'm trying to... Audacity. Audacity, if you want to have a Google of that, that's a very good free open source platform for making podcasts on. Then of course you have to look at hosting of your podcast, and I use a company called Podbean, and there's also Acast. You can of course put it onto iTunes as well, but that wouldn't be hosting, that would just be an outlet for your podcast. And then everything is worked off what's called an RSS feed, mate. And the RSS feed is basically your podcast information. So the RSS feed is what you would give to iTunes or you would give to other companies. And then every time your podcast puts out a new show, it automatically update on people's feeds and stuff like that. It isn't as daunting or as complicated as it might look at the outset, mate. But there's so many ways to do it that I couldn't just give you one answer, because everybody records them in different ways. But just Google it and go onto YouTube, buddy. If you have any questions or anything that doesn't make sense to you, you know the email address. Hit us up. If I can help you out, I'll happily do so. I can't see Grujic, or I just can't see it with Grujic. I'd rather keep Wilson. And I'm the same with Wilson. Glennie, I can't quite see him being good enough right now for us to keep. But I also respect your opinion on Grujic. It's all about opinions, isn't it? That's the thing, we don't always have to agree, but as long as we can have an open and frank and friendly discussion, then I suppose that's all we can ask for. If I was Conte, I'd go to Juve, said Robbie. Isn't he going to Inter? Is that a done deal? I know he had a settlement agreement of something like 9 million with Chelsea over his sacking. Anyone see the vid on YouTube that showed Messi in the first half at Anfield? It was very interesting. You could basically have swapped his face for Eden Hazard's. He walked about for most of it, only doing the odd jog. Don't think I've seen that one. I've seen the clips of how dejected himself and Suarez and stuff looked, and it was great. I loved watching them, I'm not going to lie. Pepe Reina linked with a shock return. Thoughts? Asked Reece Nickel. I'm all for it, Reece, mate. I'm all for it. If Simon Mignolet moves on, I've said this yesterday, people might say, oh, but Pepe Reina is 36 or whatever he is. Granted, but imagine Pepe Reina and Alisson Becker on the training ground together, working on their distribution, working with the younger goalkeepers as well. Pepe Reina might not have the reflexes of a peak Pepe Reina, but he would still have a lot to teach. And our backup goalkeeper, he's not going to get much game time, if we're being brutally honest about it. So I'd seen Pepe Reina links, they make sense. I'd seen links to Adrian at West Ham, wouldn't have any issues with that as well. And I also have no issues if we were to give Krivin Kelleher or Camille Grabara an opportunity. But yeah, I do get it. I do see, call me an old romantic as well about Pepe Reina, but I could see a lot of sense to it. Willow said Audacity is a good one to use. I use it to edit my music for the girls for dancing. And again, Audacity is a free open source platform that you can use. Right, let us do about 10 more minutes, ladies and gents, and we shall call it a night, if that is okay. One thing I would recommend for anyone that's thinking of starting a podcast is investing in a USB microphone if you're going to be doing it through your computer or your laptop rather than through a mixer. The really good all-around USB microphone is something called a Blue Snowball. Now there's two of those. There's a Blue Snowball and a Blue Snowball Ice. The Blue Snowball Ice is a singular direction microphone, meaning that it only records what is directly in front of it. And the Blue Snowball itself is an omnidirectional microphone, which means that it can record obviously what's in front of it, but there's also a setting that it can record in a circle. So if you had 2 or 3 lads around the table and they were close enough, you could just bang the microphone down the middle of it and it will record everybody's voices. The Blue Snowball is about £70, I think, and the Blue Snowball Ice is around £50. Again, Amazon, always good for these things. What else is... And they're really simple as well, those microphones. They're plug and play. They're USB mic. There's no drivers or anything you need to install on your computer. You just plug it in. Computer recognises it. Boom. Really straightforward. Really easy to go. There are, of course, cheaper and more expensive options. I'll show you mine real quickly, as I've shown before. I use this. It's a Rode NT USB microphone. I think at present it's somewhere around £150, something like that. And then the boom arm itself that I use here, again, it's about £100. But I didn't start off with them. I started off with the Blue Snowball, and it did me for 2 years of podcasts. And Connor uses one, Cash uses one, Dave uses one. Actually, pretty much everybody that has anything to do with our podcast uses a Blue Snowball microphone. Funny name, I know. And they're a funny looking thing. They're a big white or black roundy device, but I cannot speak highly enough of them. They're so good value. There's also another one. There's a Blue Yeti, which is another good microphone. It's a little bit more expensive than the Blue Snowball. I remember going through, and this is a true story, I shit you not, this actually happened. I was going through security at Liverpool Airport before, and sometimes when we're travelling with recording equipment and stuff like that, I mean to say, you know, if you got your laptop, you take it out of your bag beforehand. So I've gotten so used to being pulled up on equipment that I open it up now, make sure it's clearly visible when I'm going through. And one time I forgot to open up the little microphone case, it's only about this size, that I carried that Blue Snowball in. And because it was called the Blue Snowball Ice, the security lady, I think it was, said, what's this? And my friend, in his absolute stupid naivety, said, oh, that's his ISIS microphone. And I went, you what now? I said, no, it's called a Snowball Ice. I couldn't believe, I swear that I was fully expecting the rubber glove to come out when he said that. Yeah, I'll never forget that moment. Poor old Connor, by the way, always gets pulled up at security. He always gets the extra search. Maybe he just looks dodgy. Jay said, we're speaking to somebody who writes a lot of detailed articles and watches players in depth. He said that Wilson stands out because of worldly goals. However, his overall play isn't good enough for Liverpool. A lot of people, well, obviously Jace, whoever did that article, knows a lot more than us and would have looked a lot more in depth. But from the very few bits that we've seen, that's kind of similar to what few people have said. He drifts in and out of games from what I've seen in the time at Derby. And yeah, you get all these goals of the month, you get all these worldly free kicks. But it just hasn't been consistent enough from what I've seen. But I ain't a scout. But I'm glad that somebody who has taken the time to go through has come up with a similar opinion. And I know, Jace, that you do mix on Twitter, especially with a lot of people that have a lot of good knowledge in football and write about football in a very well-informed, articulate way. We are blessed on Twitter that there are a lot of good football writers on there. Do you think if Liverpool had Pep, we would have won the league? It's an impossible question to answer. I don't think that there are as many people who could have got more out of what Jurgen Klopp has at the club than Jurgen Klopp. So let's say no, because I don't want to undermine Jurgen Klopp. Elijah John said, it's okay to disagree and hate Stevie Nicholls' opinions on football, but don't forget the legend that he was. 100% agree with that. Everything you've said. I massively disagree on a lot of stuff Stevie Nicol said, but you cannot forget about him as a player for Liverpool Football Club. Absolutely outstanding. Is it true that Liverpool contacted Leon or what? Said Owen, or what? I can't say if it's true or not. I don't know, Owen. All I can say is that a lot of people have reported that Liverpool have contacted Leon about Memphis Depay. I mean, there's been a few posts, I'm sure you've seen them on social media. A lot of stuff with Memphis Depay and Liverpool players with, of course, that Dutch connection. LFC said 8-5 for us to lift the Champions League. Slim pickings. Edward's like, cheers Craig, I'll try Audacity, and you explained that way better than I could for something that I'm knowledgeable about. I'm not knowledgeable. I keep saying it, buddy. On the tech side of stuff, I can scrape through podcasts and things like that, but when it comes to making images for this, without Connor, I'd be up shit creek. In Haloko said, Craig, name one transfer rumour that will most likely come through in your opinion. Are we talking Liverpool, mate, or non-Liverpool? If we're talking non-Liverpool, then what am I thinking non-Liverpool that was more than likely going to come through? I think the Sane one to Bayern Munich has legs. I think what's his face from United is going to go to Inter Milan by the looks of it. Lukaku, he's strongly linked to a move to Italy. From a Liverpool perspective, I can't say for any degree of certainty at all who we might sign. If I had to guess, Neres is the one. I think Neres makes sense to me. Werner makes sense to me. I'd still love a surprise Fekir signing. I'd love Klopp to pull that one out and say, do you know what, his knees actually sound. It was just a little bit of a niggling over the price. I mean, that would make me so happy. 9 days to the Champions League final, said somebody else. Douglas James Horn said 37 days to go on holiday to Tenerife and 46 days until your birthday. Nice, some good times coming up for you, buddy. Always nice to hear people have stuff to look forward to. I think I've gone through absolutely everything on my list, which is a first for me. Yes, I've done all of my list. Yeah, go me. I think Trippier leaving Spurs after the final, freshly roasted by Mane. I have seen lots of talk among Spurs fans, mate, that Trippier might move on, so that's probably a fair show. Dybala close to Liverpool. Genuinely, I'd love to have heard about that. I hope that that's the case, but I haven't seen it. Not the close part. I've seen the links, but nothing other than tenuous links, to say the best, or the least. Words are just, I speak so much over the last few weeks that I'm just mixing my words up, and I'm a bit tired as well, to be fair. Fekir's knee is made of cheese string. They're quite flexible and bendy though, to be fair. A lot of people saying happy birthday to Douglas James Horn. And Haloko said, one last thing before I go, Craig. I was thinking that Liverpool should contact Bernardeschi from Juventus and maybe snag him before they get a manager to replace Allegri. Why is the name Bernardeschi ringing a bell to me? Obviously I know he was Juventus, but has he not moved on? Mate, I know it. Something in my head said he's moving or has moved on, but I could be completely wrong on that one. Klopp to Juve has legs. Not, said Craig Weston. He's not going to Juventus. We did speak that there'd been a rumoured £32 million release clause in Jurgen Klopp's contract, but even if that was triggered, Klopp would still have to want to go, and he doesn't, clearly. Jace Roberts said, we're in a situation now where we'll get linked to a new player every day, but the real great thing is that our transfer leaks have largely stopped, and it's great having confidence in the process. Yeah, it's brilliant. It's tough for people like us, mate, who want to come on and talk about links, whether it be on a podcast or people like yourself or Sam or other people who want to write about it and, you know, write links. It's tough because it used to be under Brendan Rodgers, there'd be a lot more leaks coming out to the likes of James Pearce and other local journalists from the patch. Now, we all kind of love that there's not much coming out, but at the same time it makes it more difficult to come on here for us to have a chat about it. Yeah, it's great. I love the Fabinho type transfers. I love that, like, nothing, bang, here's a deal. If Depay gets announced, I'd be very happy, said Craig Weston. Bernardeschi moved to Juventus last summer. See, this is why I'm way off, Jack, and this is why I need you guys to give me this information. Look, ladies and gents, I think we've gone through everything tonight. We will be back tomorrow. Oh, good news. Cash is going to join me for some time on tomorrow's stream. So at the start of the stream, Cash will be on probably half an hour, 45 minutes, something like that. So yeah, always great. Haven't caught up with Cash in a while, so it'll be really, really interesting to get Cash's thoughts on the Champions League final, on the transfer window, on the season as a whole, and just to catch up with her, because you know Cash is great, good fun, really knowledgeable on the game, very intelligent lady, and I love chatting with her because she's good fun. And yeah, that's going to be great. We'll also do our usual transfer news and stuff as well. If you haven't checked out the podcast, guys, it is live on the channel. It's only about 25 minutes long. Please do check it out. But most importantly, comment below, because I want to know your thoughts on the players that we spoke about on the podcast. And again, if we've missed anybody. A couple of people did point out that we didn't speak about Rafael Camacho, so thank you for that. We'll make sure we cover that in a future one. But as always, look, thank you for your time. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thumbs up on the L stream if you can, and we'll chat to you tomorrow, same time, same place. Take care of your families, tell your loved ones that you love them, and up the motherfucking